those sounds that are trapped in your mind.
Wow, Blitz just keeps getting stomped on. Like, please stop, he's already down. So after 4 months, we finally got our newest Hell of a Boss episode, and it's called Ghost Lovers. Yeah, let's just go with that. And fun fact, Halloween is the anniversary of Hell of a Boss because the very first episode came out 3 years ago on Halloween. And also on Halloween recently, I posted my Halloween animation. Go check that out. I put a lot of hard work into that. Link will be in the description and the pinned comments. First of all, I'm gonna get this out of the way now. Finally, another episode that has Millie more in the spotlight. And yes, there was the unhappy campers episode, but even with that, we didn't get much about her aside from the fact that she likes being seen for something other than her strength. And also, the plot was between her and Moxie and Blitz wanting to find his sister Barbie Wire. And with the mini episode, we learned more about Sally Mae, if anything. So it's good to finally get an episode where we actually learn a lot more about Millie and how she was before she met I.M.P. During season 1, there was a bit of a problem that fans had with Helluva Boss, explaining that female characters barely get the spotlight, and I definitely agree. It's one thing to barely know anything about Stella, but to not know barely anything about Octavia, who is one of the main character's daughters, yeah, that's a notable issue in this show. So to have an episode basically just about Blitz and Millie is a dream come true. And the plot of the episode is solely about them. No back and forth secondary plot. While Moxie and Luna can get really irritated with Blitz's antics, Millie is more compliant and joking with him. Really laid back. Which is actually pretty cute when you think about it. Spoilers ahead, if you haven't watched this episode, I highly recommend watching it before you watch this video. This episode starts off with Millie bringing coffee to the I.M.P office. She's quite friendly with the succubi who work there for Rosica, and they're friendly back. And when she goes in, she sees an extremely exhausted Luna, and Millie asks what's going on. Turns out Blitz brought over 100 taxidermy owls, and Luna can't go home until she's burned every last one of them. And then there's another shipment of 100 taxidermy owls that comes in. Yeah, it's quite clear that he has not gotten over what happened in the last episode. Millie says it has been over a month. Blitz pretty much wastes their money on taxidermy owls and plates with horses on it, to the point Moxie is having an absolute freak out that the business might go bankrupt and having a breakdown. Millie goes to check on Blitz, and that's when we see Blitz at his absolute lowest, eating ice cream with canned cheese while watching adult movies. Blitz looks absolutely miserable and making pretty dumb decisions to somehow make himself feel a tad better. Like, this is low even for him. Millie does his best to make Blitz feel better, but it's just not working. Blitz is clearly hurt about everything that happened in the previous episode, even though most of the relationship was Sola's fault. God, I hate that demon. So they get a new client who is this absolute diva, and I love her. Millie decided to take the call for Blitz since they definitely needed money. The client says that she was killed by evil ghosts in a hotel, but the problem is that ghosts aren't real because there's only 2 places a human soul can go, up or down, which makes me wonder if they have a purgatory or not. Blitz barges into the room after hearing this and desperately needs something to do, so he immediately takes the job. While Millie is the only one coming with him since Moxie is in a crisis right now, Luna agrees to watch him while the two are gone. They use the Osmodeus crystal to the human realm and get to the hotel. Millie is doing her best to talk some sense into him because it's very obvious why he's doing all this in the first place, but Blitz being Blitz, he doesn't listen. And you can slowly see Millie becoming annoyed, but she's trying her best here. We meet the owner of the hotel, who just looks extremely sleazy. He explains that he needs the ghosts that are haunting his hotel all gone because they are killing his tenants left and right. Blitz of course agrees to this and uses his ghost radar. They start searching for ghosts, and Blitz just causes complete chaos, with Millie constantly being dragged into it, having a bunch of people chasing them after wanting to get Blitz back for what he did. They even have a Scooby-Doo chase reference in it, which is actually kind of funny. Eventually they do escape and they end up in a vent, and Millie just finally had enough of this. Snaps on Blitz, which is fair. This causes both of them to split up, Blitz starts to climb to the vents when there's a lot of this black goo everywhere, and it starts to make him slip and fall out of the vent. He finds who he thinks is Millie, but it's not her. A bunch of disturbing, distorted versions of her keep coming out of different rooms, absolutely terrifying him and making him run. And then we get such a heartbreaking scene. Suddenly he's a teen again, and he finds his mother Tilla for the first time, who comforts him, but it's clear that none of this is real, and he is forced to relive the moment of losing his mother, and she died from the fire Blitz accidentally caused years ago. Literally forced to just watch her burn alive. That is horrible. For a better explanation, in the episode Oops, we get a flashback. Blitz wanted to give Frizzaroli a love letter, but seeing that his own father, Cash Bucko, cares more about him than his own son, and pretty much everyone gives Fizz more attention, Blitz doesn't. He ends up shoving a demon with a cake, and the candle sets a tent ablaze and the explosives, causing Blitz all of those burn marks, and for Fizz to lose all of his limbs, and for his mother to die as well. And I think this is also the reason his sister Barbie Wire wants nothing to do with him. So of course seeing this absolutely destroys Blitz, and soon Millie finds him in a hotel room having a complete breakdown. Blitz practically begs Millie to stay away because he ruins relationships and he doesn't want to hurt her next, but instead Millie asks how they first met. And here we finally get some more Millie backstory. Back then, Millie moved from RAF and she was currently in Envy to be the hired assassin. She's in a bar when Blitz confronts her about her stealing his and Moxie's kill, which leads to a pretty awesome fight sequence. Millie doesn't believe that Blitz is working for himself because in their society, imps are servants and that's all they really are. They can only work for other demons and royalty because that's all they're good for. Even after getting his cheek sliced with a knife, he still stands wanting to hire her because she has so much potential and she can be more than just a lowly servant or goon. Blitz shows her that imps can be more than just what they're born as, that they can be anything they want, and that Millie never hated him and said that he is her best friend and that she's going to support him like he did her. As much as Blitz messes up and looks at the things he's done wrong, he's also done good things. He saved Luna from being kicked out of the pound and having a home and a job. He gave Millie a job. He gave Moxie a job. Because of him, Millie and Moxie met and later got married. So he has the ability to make other lives better, and he needs to be able to see that. And with this realization, he feels so much better and is willing to finish his job. It doesn't take long for him to figure out that this is obviously no ghost, but instead it's a demon doing all of this, and that's when they discover the sleazy hotel worker. He reveals himself for what he actually is, which is a fish demon, most likely from the Envy Ring. This demon has the ability to transform himself into the black goop, which is the same thing that we saw earlier this episode, which leads him to catching them and throwing them into a wall and through the pool room. And this guy just beats the absolute crap out of both of them, and he uses his power of possession to go inside Blitz's mind, which causes him to relive so many bad memories, like the circus fire, losing his mother, Barbie Wire, his father hurting him, not being allowed to see Frizzaroli in the hospital, the things that happened at Ozzy's. Blitz obviously doesn't want to watch this, but he's physically being forced to. Suddenly it gets interrupted with Millie trying to wake him up, so that's when the hotel owner takes over Blitz's body and fights Millie, and at first he's beating her up, and also trying to gaslight her into believing Blitz actually hates her. Blitz, meanwhile, trapped in his own mind, is being forced to watch her being hurt, and he is begging for this to stop. The possessed Blitz tries to make her think that she's RAF trash, saying that she's only good for muscle, trying to use his words to get to her, but they don't work. She knows how Blitz truly is and refuses to give in to his words. Millie beats the little possession out of Blitz. Blitz finally gets control back and knocks the hotel owner into the pool and drops his vacuum into the water, electrocuting him, causing him to basically melt. With their job done, everything seems to be okay for now. The two watch the sunset together. Meanwhile, with Moxie and Luna, Moxie thinks he finally figured out the numbers, but unfortunately, he forgot to carry a 2, which pretty much causes him to crash out in a second. For the first time in the show, Luna actually does something nice for Moxie, swaddles him up in blankets with ice cream and puts on Ghost Lovers the musical. I'm actually glad for once we didn't have the Moxie is fat joke, because I'm sorry, that joke was never funny. Wasn't funny the previous times, and it never will. So at least Luna has a heart. I want to believe that this can be where Blitz has an upturn in becoming better, which I'm probably wrong about, but he has already established that he doesn't want to be this way anymore. Blitz knows that someone cares about him, that he genuinely has a best friend. Which, yeah, Fizzer really exists and they've clearly mended their relationship, but a part of me feels as though he still feels genuine guilt about what happened in their past and is terrified he might hurt him again. I am very glad that we get more of a Millie episode that isn't just about her killing constantly. She gives me SpongeBob vibes in a way. Like, SpongeBob is always being so nice until his buttons are pushed and he finally snaps at people. That's the same vibe I get from Millie. And I really hope with this episode Blitz can begin to improve as best as he can and not let Stolas get to him, distract him from what's truly important. He's not going to be able to fix all of his wrongdoings, but at least we can see him fix some. Except his relationship with Stolas, because that was mostly his fault. Oh, how I hate this bird. But thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, it really helps my channel. I have a video coming up, but it's going to take a while, but I can't wait for you to see it. And as always, stay amazing, you stars.